Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Dorian. Hi. What you're looking at here is a set of 1966 Harley Shovelhead engine cases. These cases belong to a motor which I'm currently building for a pretty cool 66 chopper, which I should probably show you. This is it. As you can see, it's pretty much completely taken apart at the moment, but I fairly recently acquired this bike from a fellow who builds and collects bikes up north. Um, and what it is, it's a 66 FL shovel chopper, obviously. That, he did quite a bit of custom work too. The most notable is obviously this gas tank with this pretty badass rose motif with a little bit of gold leaf. That's the seat. It runs a 15-inch rear with a automotive Hoosier drag slick. There's the 4-speed gearbox. There's the neck, etc. Overall, I'm really digging on this bike. It's got a really kind of punk rock gothy Depeche Mode kind of feel to it, which I'm super down with. At the moment, I got it all blown apart because I am narrowing the front end from the stock wide glide, which is 10 on center, to a 7-inch on center set of trees from Pangea. Thanks, Andy. This stuff's really cool. But anyway, in this video, I'm going to kind of focus on introducing you to this project. The real reason why I'm making this video is to kind of practice taking some video and putting stuff up on YouTube, because I hope to launch a channel soon where I show you some of the stuff we got going on in my shop here. My shop is called DV Mechanics, and we specialize in restoration of vintage European stuff, primarily Alfa and Porsche. But that said, I'm a big motorcycle guy. I own and have owned all kinds of stuff. Everything from motorized bicycles to Vespas, Lambrettas, Yamahas, Ducatis, Harleys, Nortons, Triumphs, all that. I love engines, and I love cars, and I love building and making stuff. So anyway, being that I have just about no experience making videos, and being that I have very limited experience with Harley Davidson engine building, I kind of want to put those two together, combine the steep learning curve, and put some stuff out there. Anyway, back to the engine. Here she is. These are the cases. 66 shovel. Now, these cases have gone through a pretty thorough cleaning and beautification process that I do here at the shop. We do this to a lot of the cases, or engines that we build here in the shop. We deep clean, degrease, and then we very often use our vapor blaster to polish or micro polish and clean the cases. The results that you see here are from probably 5 to 6 hours of not just vapor blasting, but also many hours of running brushes and air and water through every passage, every thread, every galley, to make sure that none of that blast media stays in the cases, because if it does, it will guarantee you that your engine will not live very long. So anyway, I won't focus on vapor blasting, but it is a process that we like to do to all the motors we build here. And these are the results. Hopefully you can see that. This front gear case cover has been cleaned in my cleaning tank, and that's why it's kind of stained, because some of that cleaner can be kind of bad to polish. So these are going to get repolished, and these are the internals inside the gear case, obviously. This is going to be an intro video, like I said, so I'm just going to kind of go over some of the parts that I found in this engine. Now, sadly, this thing had been rebuilt recently. I have the receipts to prove it, and it has very little runtime, but something went way wrong, and I think it's to do with just the general sloppy kind of build they did on it, because it didn't last long. It was hard to start, and it registered scary low oil pressure. So anyway, I have it all apart now. Many of the parts are cleaned up. Those are the obviously the liners, the barrels. Just had them honed and blasted, so I'm going to need to paint those soon. The surprise of this engine was that I came to find it has a S&S stroker crank, 4 3/4 stroke, on 3 7/16 40 over pistons. So that's what's going to be kind of the power maker of this engine. I'm not the biggest fan of strokers, especially not on a death trap chopper with no brakes and suspension, but you know, this is what it is, so that's what I'm going to use. As you can see, I got the parts kind of laid out on these clean trays, which is kind of what I do with anything we build here. These are all the various parts that I have laid out for inspection. I'm kind of sorting parts, kind of deciding what's usable and what's not usable. The main focus of this engine build is going to be to make it reliable, make it leak free, get real good oil pressure in it. Now, I know these are roller bearing engines. They don't generally have high oil pressure, but they need some oil pressure. And we got to get that oil volume kind of coming around in this engine so it lives as long as possible. But yeah, once again, I'm going to make some upgrades. I'm going to do a lot of things that make the motor prettier, but still pay respect to its original look and function. Parts are rolling in daily. I've been ordering up a storm every evening. And I'm going to talk about some of the various systems within the engine that I had trouble figuring out. Primarily the oiling system. There's a little bit of black magic that happens in a Harley motor and an early Harley motor with the oiling system. And I think on the very first video following this one, I'm going to talk about the oiling system and how I figured out how it works. This here is a S&S oil pump, which I just bought recently to replace the old oil pump, which was in it, which is this one here. Many of the parts that came out of this engine were scored. For example, some of the gears in the gear case have nicks in them and missing teeth or partially missing teeth. This is the generator drive gear. If you look closely, you can see that it's missing. It's got chunks out of several of these teeth. So I'm going to be replacing those when appropriate. I'm not trying to spend $1 million replacing everything as much as I would love to, but I'm going to be as smart as I can about what parts are not usable and which are. I'm going to try to figure out why we had such low oil pressure. If you look closely here, that is a broken piston ring, which I found on the compression, the top ring of the front cylinder. So that does explain why it ran quite poorly, or at least partially explains that. But like I said, the goal is to make this thing run bitchin'. I want it to be reliable. I want it to start reasonably quick, and I think we could achieve that. Another surprise is that the bike came with STD heads, which is the good kind of STD. These have a 3-bolt pattern exhaust flange. They had pretty big valves from what I understand, which are here. They're titanium nitride coated. Crazy part is they have aluminum keepers or retainers, which I didn't expect to find in there. Also, this thing had what I believe is an Andrews cam with, check out that duration on that lobe. I mean, seems crazy, but I'm going to try to run those. I don't have other cams for it, and I'm just going to try to run as many parts that it came with as possible. Obviously, all the alloy will get repolished. That's the front timing cover and the rocker cover. It's going to get a lot of new high-grade hardware throughout the engine. And along with the new oil pump and new breather gear, I'm going to try to change the ratio of the drive from this 525 oil pump drive gear to a 624 to get a little more speed out of that oil pump and hopefully make it more reliable for long rides. But that just about wraps it up for the intro. I hope you guys kind of get a good idea what I got going on here. Like I said, my goal is to make for a nice, reliable, pretty engine that runs good, is fairly easy to start, and hopefully doesn't leak a single drop. I have a lot of experience building motors, but very little with Harley motors. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video and find it informative. I'll be following up every few days with a new video on the latest progress on this engine build. And please, guys, if you are watching this video and have any questions, I'd love to see it in the comments. Please leave me comments regarding anything I might have got wrong and any suggestions that you might have towards this build. That would be quite helpful for me. So anyway, take care. Talk to you soon. Peace.